About 170 kilometers west of Brno is the historic town of Jindrichuv Hradec. As you can see, it's a very beautiful and historical town. A couple of weeks ago I was shown a video in Czech of a Czech TV program about the Templars in the Czech Republic. It was a bit sensationalized in the manner of the Holy Blood and the Holy Grail, for example, but the church featured in this town looked really interesting and even prompted several email exchanges with other people to see what they thought, like Rory Duff, for example. So last Saturday we drove there. On arrival, we immediately found the church, St. John the Baptist, as it is now a part of the town's museum. As I stepped out of the car, I started to douse and immediately found an energy line. I counted the paces as I walked through this line, 90. I'm not used to lines this wide, so I passed back and forth checking and double checking. It was 90 paces and it headed straight to the church, it seemed to me. As we approached the museum, I continued to douse and soon found another line, another 90 paces. This one also went into the church. I was rather surprised to find the museum open at this time of the year with COVID all over the place, but it was, so in we went with rising excitement. The church was part of a Minorite monastery, and the first part we entered was the cloister. Originally the walls were decorated with old paintings which probably originate from the 14th century. But on entering the church proper, all I can say is that I felt like a 16-year-old full of energy and excitement, like I was flying. The person with me also felt this energy, like flying. And in fact, at times, it made me feel dizzy. I've never felt such strong and seemingly positive energy before, and using my dowsing rods, it seemed as if the entire church was within these two energy lines. I spent quite a lot of time photographing and videoing the wall paintings, as they are truly strange, featuring a lot of what looked like Templar and Teutonic crosses, as well as the rose emblem of the local lord, Jindrichuv of Hradec. There are also weird symbols, designs and grotesque images, and I'm not sure what to make of them quite yet, except they do remind a bit of some of the designs in other Templar-related churches like Rosslyn Chapel. To me, it also evoked a bit of Rudolf Steiner in the sense of a feeling of the cycle of life and death. Yet there are other things to be discovered in these images. Some reminded me of energy vortexes and energy lines, others are strange and grotesque creatures. Around the top and high up are figures of saints, including one readily identifiable as St. Andrew. However, one of the saints appears to be a woman, perhaps Mary Magdalene. There are other strange and grotesque features too, even on tombstones that are displayed in the church museum. I took some time then to walk around the church, but about 300-400 meters away I wanted to get azimuths for the two lines and check their widths. To my surprise, I found a third 90-pace thick line also heading to the church, and was able to map the three lines that would all cross in the vicinity of the church. I must return and spend more time validating this, as I would expect a fourth line, as these usually come in pairs, but I didn't find it. As to the church itself, well, this is where the mystery deepens. Do a Google search, even in Czech, and you'll find very little other than a few references. At the museum, we asked if they had a guidebook or similar. No. We asked if they knew of any book. No. How can something this mysterious, this energetic, and this esoterically important be featured so little? I don't get it. The official story even denies a Templar involvement, saying simply that the Teutonic Order may have had something to do with it before it being handed over to the Minorites. Yet a quick search of the internet for records on the Templars in Bohemia soon shows strong evidence that the church was founded by the Templars and given up in a swap deal a few years later when the Teutonic Knights appear to have taken it over. The local lord of the 11th century, whose rose symbol appears in many of the paintings, Jindrichuv, is also recorded as having given the Templars land in the town and around it. It was originally built in and around 1278-ish, which makes a Templar involvement possible, as this was the period in which the order was flourishing under its commander, Echo, who was buried close to the Zheznovitsa church. There are other references too to the Templars in the church, so why is their influence denied? Furthermore, the original church was built on an earlier site, possibly of pagan significance, and it was built not east-west, but east-northeast, west-southwest. I see this a lot when a Christian church here has adopted a pagan site. When the Minorites added a lot more church and the cloisters, they in effect bent the church so as to have the correct orientation for their bit. This gives it a strange look, and although the tower on the church may not be part of the original building, it does look suspiciously like an Islamic prayer tower. However, it's the strange imagery within the church that really takes your imagination. Who put them there and for what purpose? Some people like to think that they hide some kind of code relating to a Templar treasure. I don't think so. I think rather they're more like meditational devices, and I think that they speak to the relationship between nature and humanity, the nature of the soul and the spirit. They speak to the Templars' knowledge of the earth and earth energies. You can see that the rose symbol of the Lord of the time is heavily used in some of this imagery. Unfortunately, a lot of it is very high up and inaccessible, but I took good photographs for further research and meditation. Some of the images are just truly strange. Men with breasts on their back, heads with legs. Very bizarre. I shall have to go back and back until I find some way to resolve this mystery, to try to understand what these images may mean, what the message is that's embedded within the imagery. If you have any ideas, I'd certainly love to hear from you, but I do feel that meditation on some of this imagery is perhaps the way to go. Those devices there, for example, look very much like some energy vortexes that I found in the Czech Republic. And there again we see the yellow rose in the center of that design, signifying the Lord of Hradec. The fact that the site seems to lie on so many crossing energy lines and has such really, really strong and joyful energy is also, I think, significant. Take a longer look at some of this imagery in the next couple of minutes of this video. See what you think.
So, seems like at least 390 face-wide lines cross in that church over my shoulder, which is full of Templar mysteries. Intriguing.